Okay, it looks like we're live. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Let me pull us up over here. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheila Corona and Chris J in the house.
Whoop, whoop.
And this is Morning Mojo on New Light Streaming Love. And I don't know. I'm just so glad that we got to do this morning because I kind of missed not having you there last night. But boy, it was really kind of exciting for me. It was
Yeah.
Joe on New Light.
Turn that down.
That's how far it is of a delay. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a delay.
Yeah.
I got that up.
Um,
You got 179 views last night.
Well, we did get up to 13 folks in the room at one time, that I saw. So that was lovely. And that's why I was saying to you, for me, it's, I really have felt, okay, so, and it's even been building because, I've been here almost every day except for the days I just really can't because of other obligations or whatever. Um, for the last couple of weeks now where I wasn't drawn to come here at all, and I was starting to question, well, either what's wrong with you, why don't you want to go and be and do this, are you running from yourself again because you know I wasn't, we had that conversation about how, I just wasn't doing any of my practices. I wasn't speaking to myself the way,
Yeah.
I have this habit now of speaking to my body after my bath and my shower because my body is so traumatized most of the time that it just requires that, you know. However, there wasn't a lot of uplifting chit chat in the brain. There wasn't a lot of chit chat at all, but it also, I don't know, it just felt very different. And I did discover, being a projector, once I discovered that a housemate was feeling sort of depressed, I realized that I may have been feeling that energy and taking it as my own. And by not being vigilant, that's easy to assume it's my own.
Yeah.
Number one. But number two, I know that there's because every time I did tune in with myself in a very deep way, I kept getting to just relax into myself. Everything is well, all is well, that sort of thing. All the while I'm just like, okay, kind of feel to it. But ever since it's been that I've come back here, and today I felt driven.
Yeah.
I've already recorded 3 chapters of the Joshua channelings this morning. They are uploaded and ready to go on New Light Streaming Love. They're being released, one a day. They will, once I have them all finished, they will be released over on Sassy C or Sheila all at once for those who want to binge it. I have to go over and give that channel a little love because I've been spending all my time over here, which is fine. I just neglected to tell everybody, hey, I'm over here. And, although a lot of folks do, still have found me, but we're also attracting a lot of brand new folks. And
Hmm.
after last night's intuitive hangout session live, I feel like that might be part of this because today I have felt an extra. Okay, so I just was flashed something else too. Well, I think part of it is too, as I was sharing with you before we turned on the camera and went live, um, I gotta find a place to live, and um, pretty quick. And so I'm feeling a whole lot of, and also being flashed a title that I haven't had a chance to uh, delve into myself, but apparently Saturn is now direct. There, that's part of this oomph for me because that's what Saturn does, especially if it's been retrograde,
I feel
right?
like
Like
too,
this. And
I was being shown like an energetic tipping point, like you made a conscious agreement or a subconscious agreement, and it like got the energy moving. Like it was like, okay, now it
mhm.
can go.
No, I think you're right
Not fully
because
understood, but you know.
no, I think you're right because part of what I now am moving through, I believe, is just there's been some denial on my part that I think we've got some mold exposure going on in here. And so that means feet must be beating quickly. And so, but I think, like I said, the universe is in charge here because I've already been in touch with the landlord now. But it's like a culmination of puzzle pieces. I can see, okay, the timing is, coming up here. So I'm so glad I wanted to ask you, how are you feeling? What are you feeling? Because it's been all about me pretty much so far, but want to shout out to our same three folks who have shown you may not be the same three. Nobody ever says good morning, so I'm not sure, but hello and welcome. I hope you will enjoy what you hear here, and if you are brand new, and we'd love to have you subscribe. Um, if you're not, let us know you're out there. We love you. So tell me, how's by you?
Um, I don't really know. I don't. I mean, coming from last week, like there was so much coming in, and I feel like I just got my mind wrapped around a couple of things. So for me, like it's just given that space now to just move forward with that information, however that's going to look like for me. It's almost like I'm kind of like, okay, well, I'm ready for whatever is to come or whatever direction I need to go. But I'm just kind of like chilling right here for a moment. It last week felt huge and it was a lot. So I guess I'm kind of like in this space of like, okay, let's just breathe and absorb all this. Let's take all this in, get centered because in the gut, in the center of me, I'm like something, whether it be collective on a large scale or whether it just be for me, something is coming. Something is about to take place. And it's almost like a preparation type of feel. I'm getting very centered and very grounded with what information came through and where that's going to go from this point. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, I love that for you. And I wish we had been able, and I still look forward to a moment where we can. Oh, wow. You know what? I didn't even check in with Lisa. I should have. She is up. She is ready. I'm just not sure. Wow. Hey, Lisa.
Right.
Let me see. There's nobody actually commenting, so I'm just gonna go right here in um bear with me, everybody. I'm gonna see if Lisa Flamino Rush is available to join us. If not, no worries. But if so, come on down. Hey, kiddo, you want to come join myself and Crystal? Question mark. It's beautiful outside. Well, I know that she's not interested in setting up in the living room because, that is also Jasmine's bedroom. And I happen to know that Jasmine has had her back go out. And so I know that she is resting right now. And so
Okay.
Lisa might be sitting there quietly just reading her phone, because, well, there's no place else to sit other than in her bedroom, right? Like I do. So, but she loves doing Zoom outside.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give her, let's see if I can pop over here and give her um, the number of where we are. And I bet she has just now seen it, so she'll let me know. I don't know. She might have gotten into something too because we were supposed to, go to that meeting. Bear with me, everyone. Just to let everyone know about whom we're speaking, Lisa Flamino Rush is another New Light Streaming Love team member, and she too has okay, you're both describing um okay, so only if she wants to, let me just say, only if you would like, I'm going to send you the link. No worries if you're busy. Oh, she said she can join in a few minutes.
Yay.
Awesome. I'm so glad. So I'm going to just tell everyone that sort of briefly, because we do have some new beings who aren't aware. Um, well, actually, because gosh, um, in 2014, I stood in my backyard here as I was becoming a little clearer in my drug fogged brain. And not only was there addiction from pain medication that I was detoxing from, but I had been on 14 medications. Five of those were for pain, but I was finally had taken my health back into my own hands. And I stood in this backyard because I had found Laura Walker and the Oracle Report, right? And I had started reading her Oracle Report every day. And the way she talked about energy, I it, I could see and understand what she was pointing to with the astrology and how it was affecting the earth, right? There was so many puzzle pieces that she had for me, and I stood on the solar new year, the first new moon uh, in Aries, and I stood in my backyard and I just gave it to the universe that I was ready to experience community. I didn't recognize that I was building community from that time all the way through uh, 2014 and 2015. In 2015 is when I met Lisa online in a chat room attached to a Zoom live show. And it just kind of grew from there. We started an after that chat after that show is over, we had a chat room where we all gathered in Zoom and had what I later would come to call conscious conversations, right? It was called the campfire
Yeah.
chat.
I was about to say, was that the campfire thing?
That was the campfire chat. That was the birth of the campfire chat. Well, in April of 2016. Well, it was a little bit before then. There was a plan. Some of these folks lived in Australia, and they were going to do a gathering on the day they were going to counteract. I think it's the Feast of Baal or something like that, right? They wanted good, positive energy, like a big party for like-minded folks in Australia, and they were all going to gather. And I was like, oh, we need to do that in the US too, because I felt so drawn to doing that, right? Well, nobody in the US could really travel on those to be able to do that kind of deal, because everybody worked and that sort of thing. But by July 16th, I had 14 people who were able to make it, including myself. And we had a gathering here in this teeny tiny little place where you've been. And that's when myself and Lisa and two other ladies, we were just following what we felt to do. And Lisa and I are convinced that we opened up a portal back here because,
You
first
did.
of
I
all,
felt it.
well, see, I know you did. That's right, you did. Um, and I don't know, it just kind of went from there. After I met Lisa in person at that point, that's the first time I actually heard a word in my head, a physical word in my head that got my attention. You know what I mean? And um, I don't know, it's just been on from there. The quest to the truth of who I am, who I suspect we all are, truly began in that moment. And she has been such a wonderful teacher for me, as have you, as have her daughter and her husband, because I'm convinced we are all teachers and we are all students all at the same time,
Hmm.
if we allow that for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man. Okay, so hope I'm not missing. There we go. Rachel, True Colors, 333. Good day to y'all. Oh, and Mark Lee. Hi there. Ooh, okay, we did have one come out. The singer of intuition. Oh my gosh.
Didn't we
Last
have that
night.
last week?
Well,
The singer of
yes,
intuition?
yes, but I got to be honest with you. Last night was so much fun. I started telling you that, and then I went off on this other thing because I found out Lisa was going to be able to come. It was so much fun to be back. I'm not going to lie. I was a little not doubting myself. I was a little nervous if anything was going to come because I haven't opened myself like that in such a long time. And I just give what I get, and the validations that were coming through, it just again solidifies for me that the puzzle pieces that I collect for me are fitting. And sometimes when enough of them click into place, it's not that the puzzle is complete by any means, because this is a multi-dimensional puzzle. It's almost like I can see some of it crumble away, and it's almost like have you ever seen an Escher drawing, like the one of the labyrinth? Well, in the movie The Labyrinth, the movie with David Bowie,
Escher drawing?
I think that's I think that's the artist I'm thinking of, but it may not be. There's a
I may
famous
have. I just don't know what it was or.
Well, there's a famous drawing of, it's not even a maze really, but it has staircases and you just don't know. But in the in the last part of the labyrinth, in my most favorite part, where she realizes that through all the, I used to have it memorized, but I don't anymore. Through all this that she's been through, she's realized that he has no power over her. But as he's singing to her, because this is after my own heart, a musical, David Bowie, of course, and he's walking through this maze that keeps changing around them, right? And I don't know, it's just very interesting, and I don't even know why I went there. Oh, that is so wild. When that happens to me, I have no idea why I was telling you all that.
I don't know. I was okay, so maybe that's just like something for me because you know where I'm coming from and how I kind of picture my quest as like walking through that maze or walking through that labyrinth or like the forest, right? And this morning I was sitting here with my deck and like trying to connect with it because I haven't really been like doing tarot readings and stuff like that. And which I wasn't really connecting with it. But the one and only card that flew out when I went to go put it back up was literally a woman standing on the path in the forest, right? And holding this box, like I'm like, maybe it's things that she's collected along the way, maybe it's things that's gonna help her, move forward, da 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 da. And it's the Knight of Pentacles card, right? And so I've always thought the Knight of Pentacles to be like kind of slow. But anyways, to tie this in with
It's
what
the slowest card in the deck,
it
is what
is,
I
right?
always say. I always say that.
And what you just described is literally how I feel like once you get here and you think you got it figured out, like it's a mirage and it changes and it shifts. And then I have to be like, okay, well, here I am again. Now let's venture down this. It's like, but I'm used
Yes.
to it by now. Just when you think you got it figured out, like you're just so myself is just like trying to be in that flow with that. So that's a really important thing for me to just recognize that yes, it is a constant change. Like what's the saying? Oh, that's the only thing that is constant in life is change.
Ah,
Right?
please tell me. And my Black Moon Lilith, right? My according to Laura Walker's free book, by the way, I recommend everybody go to oraclereport.com and take a listen to Laura Walker. She usually puts out her reports in vocal form nowadays instead of in written form. But she also has the books that she's written freely available on her site. You just go to books, and she wrote one about the black moon. And in it there are guides to tell you, oh, here comes Lisa, to tell you what your deepest fear is, what you're here to uh, should the challenge, the mission, should you choose to accept it, is to change that, to work through that, right? And that's my fear. It's the shadow of order, and it comes with the primary fear of change. I said, oh, yeah, okay, great. Sheila's afraid of the only constant in the entire universe. Wow, way to go, gal. You picked the biggest thing you got to get over, which is so this whole idea of trust fall and trusting yourself. No wonder I've been holding on for dear life saying no, but it's getting easier. So I'm so
Hey,
glad you could
Lisa.
join us, Lisa.
Hey, friend.
All three of us in the same
I know.
spot.
I love that. It's
I
so good to
know.
see your beautiful face this morning, Chris.
It's good to see you too.
So I have to answer Mark Lee's question because he was in the intuitive hangout session last night, and he's asking, how's your neck and back today? And Mark Lee, I must confess, I took a kratom just a little bit ago. It's feeling a little uh actually right now it's right at the base of my neck, right? I know that I'm moving lymph, a lot of lymph, because I also am still having this pineal, I think it's pineal detox mixed with, I don't have allergies really. I mean, I don't think I do. Maybe I do. Um, but at any rate, my inner head said that this is a pineal detox of sorts, along with a whole bunch of other detoxing stuff. So I was expecting it. I mean, well, I shouldn't say expecting it. Nobody would like to experience it. Perhaps I should stop expecting it. It's just that I know right now there's a lot of energy pouring into the earth, and sometimes my body wants to freak out about it. Now, luckily, like I said, it doesn't last. So it'll probably kick in here in the next, I don't know, about 10 minutes, I guess.
Y'all
So
excuse me
thanks
for a
for
minute. I
asking.
gotta go
Why?
take my
How's
dog
yours?
out. You hear me?
Go ahead, sweetie.
I said, y'all excuse me for a minute. I gotta go run my dog out.
Sure, no worries. Yeah, I just wanted to ask Mark real quick how your back and neck is today. I mean, you asked me, so turnabout's fair play. And how are you doing, my dear?
Very well, thank you.
I know it seems silly. You know very well how I am. You left me 5 minutes ago in the living room.
That's okay.
Well,
I
I
was
was
working on my room. I'm still sorting and sifting and purging and woo, too
well,
much stuff.
well, I'm really thank you so much for, because I know you just like me have a lot to do. I have shared publicly what we're
Uh-huh.
dealing with here and the fact that
Okay.
beating feet is on the horizon. And so,
Yes.
um, Leshner, those trees are pretty. They really are. That is one thing that I will so totally miss
This
about this
yard.
beautiful place is the yard. I mean,
Mhm.
beautiful place. It's a teeny tiny little place with uh fully 5 adults trying to function in a 2 bedroom, one toilet home. And trust me when I say that ain't enough toilets
Right.
on any sort of level. So much so, Sheila got her luggable loo in the bathroom because I'm gonna take care of me. See, somehow, because I've already been down that road. But anyway, so I was saying that there's going to be, and I'll have more to share. But this is the only one that is still in its box. Now, this tarot has only been shuffled once. I've never used it in a reading. I
Mm,
couldn't, I don't know why, but I just wasn't drawn to it and I couldn't bond to it at all. The artwork just didn't draw me. And that's how and why I have so many decks. Um,
right.
I read tarot differently than most folks, but for the new folks that have just joined us, I will be very soon. I'm going to do a standalone video with all the information. I'm going to do a drawing, and I'm going to sit with my larger being, and it's going to be very inexpensive, like a buck. I have to have enough people um, enter the drawing to be to be able to afford the shipping to get it to you. So that's the if for whatever the reason I'm not able to do that, maybe I better find out how much it would cost. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want
Well, it'll
that's what
depend also on where it's going.
well, I know that's true. Well, just look for it. I can align my own years of energy work, Kriya Yoga. Oh, your neck and back, Mark, that's what you're speaking to. Well, I'm not in shape enough to do any sort of yoga. I'm signing up at the local Y for chair yoga. Got to start somewhere. So yeah. Um, but I know I have, my good friend who just joined us here, Lisa Flamino Rush, encouraged me by her own experience, sharing her own experience. Would you like to? I'm speaking of how you speak to your body and what it's done for you. And I was wondering if you'll talk about that. I'm going to read this real quick first and get this
Sure.
going
Yeah.
because I think it applies to what you will share. The
Okay.
singer, the singer of intuition came out,
Ah, beautiful.
right? Card number 7. And I just love this. It actually looks also, it reminds me of the card that's the chalice as well. And I also see the sword of truth in there too. This card is pretty all encompassing for me.
Mm.
Ooh, I also see a being in there this go round. I hadn't seen a multi-dimensional. Oh, there's like several. Okay. Ooh, that's a oh, and it looks different in, with my naked eye as opposed to in the camera.
Ooh,
It gives an entirely different perspective.
sure.
Wow. Okay, so the singer of intuition, perceptiveness, oracular powers, awareness, trust. The song of the singer of intuition carries all of the information there is. Some people believe that this information, often called the Akashic Records, is like a great filing cabinet or library in the sky that we have to go to in order to get information intuitively or psychically. We needn't go anywhere. The song is sung within our blood and flesh and bones, just as it is within the rest of the universe. If at humanity's present stage of evolution, we consciously heard the song in all of its fullness, we would be overwhelmed, our minds burned out by that energy. I'm convinced that is these frequencies that I've heard in and around my head pretty much nonstop since around, I don't know, and I don't even know if it started in 2012. I kind of, it might have, but and it changes. A kindly universe has led us to a place in our development where we can consciously hear only bits of the melody. Usually, we must develop skill in actively listening for it, but occasionally a few notes resonate so closely with our own being that we become aware of them. These involuntary experiences are what we call hunches or intuition or extended sense perceptions. And the Jeshua channelings refers to it as your feelings as opposed to your emotions, which that made perfect sense to me on so many levels. Um, Usually, yeah, we must develop skin. Okay, these involuntary experiences are what we call hunches or intuition or extended sense perceptions. We can improve our reception of the song by learning to be very still and to listen in a special way. Later chapters in part 3 give techniques for using this and other oracles as, quote, amplifiers for the song. What we get for practicing stillness through meditation and listening, just ask and then listen, is the ability to understand and intercept meta symbols, the symbolism beyond the material symbols of oracles and omens themselves. And Mark Lee, you were there last night, so I will say to you, that's all I'm doing is listening and and trust me when I say I don't always interpret what I'm getting properly for myself. I will point again one more time because I think it's effing funny that I got a message that Corona was going to go viral and I wasn't wrong, but it wasn't me. So that's proof that information that everybody gets inside may be just a little squiggly. And I also know that the reason it was squiggly is because I'm squiggly. I'm not fully aligned. So of course what comes in is going to go shooting off at the wrong direction. And I can get all mad about it but I'd rather see it and laugh about it because quite frankly, I mean, it's been so valuable to me to know that that happens because it also has allowed me to develop a discernment that says, you know what? I want you to trust your intuition 100% too, but I also will trust my own discernment about your intuition because that's what I'm supposed to do. That's
Right.
what all of us are supposed to do. I think. It's just my take on it. Stars and everybody, everyone on the planet, should they choose to open themselves up in that manner, has these same abilities. That's why I call this is a tool of my focus and attention. And it's just amazing to me how much we can get when we just focus our attention and listen. Or at least me, I'm amazed at me. Stars are omens, portents, movement of stars and mice. These are all part of one piece, the one song, and therefore a part of us as we are of them. Understanding them truly is just a matter of learning to be still, to ask, and to listen. Someday, as we evolve and grow, we will be able to hear more and more of this song and to base our actions and choices on greater knowledge. Patience and practice are the keys to all of the subtle, clear senses. Clairaudience, clear hearing. Clairvoyance, clear seeing. Clairsentience, clear knowing. Telepathy, hearing with each other without words. And boy, do we got stories about that. All three of us. Oh my gosh. Precognition, knowing before, glimpses of a probable future. In a reading, the presence of the singer of intuition indicates that information is available to us if we will just listen to our own inner knowing. Perhaps we have already heard it and still doubt our subtle senses. The singer says this is the time to really listen to our intuition. What are our feelings, hunches, or intuitions about the situation? It is desirable that we should seek solitude, meditate, and practice stillness and patience. This is a time for inward focus, a time to open the inner door to intuition. There are a lot of ends in this sentence because important answers are to be found within ourselves. The presence of this singer in a card spread radiates special illumination and insight on the other cards around it. Well, I also think it's kind of interesting that it came out today because we are still in the full moon energy and will be for another at least 24 hours.
Okay.
So Lisa, you were going to share with us a bit about your listening to your body and things, right? Because we were
Yeah.
speaking on this.
Yeah, and you're right. It goes with the cards so beautifully. um, and also when you were reading that description from the card, I thought of a mantra that came in when I was driving home for Virginia. And it's just kind of been my little inner chant. I'm healthy, I'm wealthy and wise. And when I need wisdom, I look deep inside. And that's really my practice now is when I'm in need of wisdom, instead of the first thing turn into an external authority or everybody else's opinion on the subject, I first take my own counsel, and that's very new for me. But it also goes along with this body piece that you've asked me to share. So some time ago, I had some health issues that I wanted to heal. And basically, I reached a dead end with the medical situation. My doctor said well, I've done everything I know how to do, except for one last thing. This is a pill that we've got to monitor your liver very closely. So we'll have to take blood work every 3 months and monitor the condition of my liver. And I thought, wow, I'm battling this other thing over here. And the cure for that is to wipe out my liver, perhaps. I don't know. It just, I felt like that did not feel good in my body at all to participate in that, because I was already hanging on by a thread. So I went within me and I prayed for solutions and answers. And then I had eyes to see them. So then I knew that because I've requested this of the universe, it's coming to me. And so I watched for it. And as things came to me, I began to research them. And one thing I learned about the body is it's really designed to keep going, to heal itself, to replace dead cells. Like it's just a cycle. And I learned that when you feed your body what it needs, so like the building materials, I had to learn what the building blocks were for my cellular rejuvenation, not just what I had been doing, which was creating new cells without what was required. And so it was kind of like if you've ever made a copy of a copy too many times, you'll begin to notice that the original brightness and integrity even of the page will diminish over time until you really can't even read the page anymore.
Right.
And so it's almost like without the proper building blocks, the cell can't replicate itself accurately or brightly or in its fullness, which is what aging is. So it isn't that time deteriorates the body. It is the lack of proper nutrition, the building blocks for the cell to do what it is programmed to do, which is replicate itself. So I was able to heal myself through just listening to what my body was showing me and then participating in being about that. Well, I also had a tool in my tool chest for healing called the Chi bed. It's a Sarajim master massage bed that was using, the Chinese wisdom of meridians and Chi flowing through the body. And it was about aligning the spine properly so that this life force energy can flow freely through my information superhighway, my spinal column, which connects everything to everything else.
Yep.
So when I began to heal, the Chi bed was a big part of that for me. It was a 40-minute massage that uses far infrared heat and acupressure points. And because far infrared heat actually penetrates the body up to 2 inches, it was also like a what do you call that with the needles? Acupuncture, because heat was going into the body to activate those same meridians that are used through acupuncture.
I feel so fortunate that you actually had one when you moved here, and I got to experience it before.
Yes, it's a powerful tool, but of course it had to be plugged into the wall to
Right.
work. And when I went to use it one day, I had turned it on And we had a power surge in the house, so the electricity blipped and everything came back on except the chi bed. The motherboard was fried.
Yeah.
So I was very anxious about that because I guess I felt that I needed the chi bed in order to keep myself aligned. And when I was meditating and praying for solutions and asking my innate, what do I do? I got the very powerful and strong message that I can do my own adjustments and that I can use my inner eye to scan my body. And then what I discover there, I can work with. So I look for blocked energy and then I ask what is blocking it. And then I provide that or remove that. Whatever data I receive from my body, I roll with it. So one of the things that I remember from working with my body in the past, I was told that if my body wants to move in a particular manner, to roll with it. So after we lost the chi bed, and so I had some experience with doing that. And this was again in healing of the fungal situation. I had a systemic fungal infection and it was taking over. And so a part of that healing was sort of like yogic positions. And I've done minimal yoga in my life and only beginner's yoga. And I was never very good at it. So I'm saying yoga, but I don't know any of the yoga positions to call it out and say, this helped me or that helped me. But I was to hold my body in specific manners and to breathe into the area, like visualize flooding the blockage with oxygen. So I started to really go into that on a more full-time basis, because when I would normally have a session on the chi bed, instead I did my own inner chiropractic adjustment, if you will. And so I was asked to stand in the anatomical position. So that's just where you're standing with your feet and your shoulder length apart, facing straight forward, and hands down by my side, facing forward. So in this position, but down here is the anatomical position. Okay, so I was to stand like that. And then just like your card that you were reading said to do, to just listen to my body. So first I take my awareness from out here to in here, and I notice my body. I follow my breath. I could tune into my heartbeat. And then I would use my internal eye to scan my spine and see if I noticed any stagnant areas where energy wasn't flowing. And so I've learned to do this body scan very quickly now, but in the beginning, it took a lot of practice because it's very subtle and it's easy to miss, especially if you're worried about your shopping list or, your mind is not present
I
with
gotta
your
pick
body.
somebody up at so and so time. I gotta, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to miss all those subtle cues and clues. So now I can, through practice and repetition, I can do it relatively quickly and I can do it anywhere at any time. But I really started practicing allowing my body to move in the way in which it wants to move. So I'm standing and I'll just feel an urge to bend over and I will, and I'll just go as far and as deep as my body feels comfortable. And when I strike the proper pose, if you will, the one that my body prefers, my body will sigh almost. There's a relaxing into the pose that happens. And sometimes getting into the pose first feels painful, like a stretch. And you know you're working that muscle, right? And you've engaged it and it hasn't been stretched in a while. So there's a little pain involved in that. But I will hold it looking for that release or the sigh of comfort that comes from striking the proper pose. And allowing my body then to shift and move. So sometimes it's a almost rhythmic dance where I'm pumping lymph fluid, or it's a contorted. I didn't know I could bend like that. I didn't know I could flip in that particular manner. And it's almost a bit overwhelming to my little mind. Like, am I hurting myself? But in reality, I'm in charge of it. And so I can stop if I feel a pain of injury, which is slightly different than a pain of stretching a muscle, because I've grown to notice the difference within myself now. So I have done some crazy things out in this yard that I didn't know I could do. Like almost going into a back bend without supporting myself with my hands and doing a twisting maneuver before coming round to the front and then standing up. And while that was happening, I heard and felt my organs reposition themselves. And it was almost as though the energy that was stuck either between organs or around an organ. And by my allowing my body to move in just the fashion that it craves to move and to breathe in the oxygen and allow what wants to take place to take place. So after I stood up from that, I felt an overall peace and a vibration running through my body that I never experienced before. And I had this sense of the perfect song, just like what you were talking about there. Like my organs were happy and they were singing joyfully, and my lymph was flowing joyfully, and my heart was beating joyfully. Like everything felt happy and aligned. And I came to the backyard with a great discomfort and a pain in my side, and I didn't know what that was or why. But once I assumed the position, the anatomical position, and rolled with the movement my body was showing me it needed or wanted, and allowed that to take place, I felt amazing afterwards. So this is my new way of chiropractic for myself. And I say that because I've even been able to work on my neck and my lower spine, where I can get some subluxations that I used to visit the chiropractor regularly for. But once I got in alignment, I could keep that alignment with the chi bed use. So once it left, I thought, oh no, I'm going to need to go back to the chiropractor or try and purchase another Sarah Master, which I've found very difficult at this juncture. As
Just
it is,
trust and believe. I had just started it had been in the house for a while and I was not drawn to it. And just when I started being drawn to it and having, oh,
benefit.
it was so helpful. Plus all the, because as it was moving that energy, there was so much coming in that I was just like full on mystical experiences. And, I would, so I know that, with
Well,
the scoliosis and everything else, it's
and
so,
I pretend that you can still get there
no, and I know
through
you're right,
allowing your body to move,
which
because
is
really
why I started
we're
doing that,
designed to
allowing it.
believe that. Yeah, me too. Me too. And then
You're
it's
the
also
reason.
being, pardon me?
I just was saying you're the reason that I have allowed myself to trust myself. That's why I wanted you to tell this story because just you taking care of you inspired me to trust me in ways I've never
Yes.
allowed.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm happy to hear that.
I'm just so grateful. Please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. Well, it's a powerful tool. Your body knows what it needs, and and all it takes is a willingness to be in relationship to the body. Hear its requests and to cooperate with it, um, allows, I think, perfect health, really. And it's a tool that I'm extremely grateful for and one that I continuously master. So it's not a one and done situation because our living our lives can take us out of alignment. And it's just a matter of remembering to come to return to alignment, to, not, and another thing I used to do is push past physical pain, do it anyway, whatever I'm doing that the pain is threatening to put a stop to. And by myself stepping back and putting a stop to it and then listening to what my body's needs are, I can remedy something that, if it's let go and pushed through, could cause life threatening situation for me down the road, 6 months, a year, whatever it is, because that's how I got into the state of health I was in, because I was ignoring my body cues. So now I pay more attention to that as the guiding light of my life, not the job or the raising of the children or whatever it is that I was participating in that I thought was taking precedence over my own physical needs. And in reality, I was only killing myself, and I wasn't going to be a help to the loved ones, the people that I was pushing through my pain for.
Well,
And
that is the reason it's a saying to put your own oxygen mask on first
yes,
on an
it's
airplane because
very
you can't
important.
help nobody if you ain't breathing.
No, no. And if everybody's fallen down because they can't move anymore because they've been doing that, to stand in your own health and ability to function when others don't have the ability is a huge service to others, because I haven't really taught you what I do and say, well, this is what you need to do. I just do it. And I've shared with you some of the crazier stories because they shock even me to this day. But that's afforded you the opportunity to play with that stuff. And you have come a long way from tuning into your body and following what you're receiving.
Well, when it first started for me, I didn't recognize, first of all, that I had pulled some of what you were sharing with me out of your field and was allowing. I just didn't equate it to allowing my body to move itself, right? This is why I say that we all act as translators sometimes for our own inner guidance. And I will know when either of these two gals or anybody else or the radio or a movie or something else is talking to me. I generally know now. You know what I mean? And I did not, because now I get it. It's all about perspective and where I am in the moment and whether I'm ready for my consciousness to absorb that. But I realized when you shared the story with me that part of what I was starting to do with the stretching every morning was exactly what you were describing to me.
Yep.
And so I was like, oh, okay, so that's really cool, right? It just happens and looks different for each, and it's meant to be
Yeah.
because we do things in our own way in our own time, and we have our own definitions for everything. To automatically assume that just because we all speak in English that we really understand each other is a misnomer on a lot of levels. I now see why the feeling is so important,
Yes.
because the words coming out of a lot of folks' mouth these days feels wholly different than the words they actually are. You know what I mean? To me, anyway, it really has seemed that way. So that shows me on another level. That's why it was so important to me for you to share that story. Also, because in moments like now, with this intuition, the part of the reason I feel this came out today too is because we are in the full moon phase for a lot of those reasons. The energies right now for all of us to see ourselves and everything for what it is and get okay with it and stand in our own sovereignty feels like it's here. For me, anyway, to have faith in what I get. And I'm just so grateful that you were able to, follow your own for you and follow through on it because you carried it around in your field. So, both of you actually shared with me about a lot of energy coming in of late, which is again for me, I happen to feel like both, and I think everybody does. There are certain things, energies, because energy moves in waves, according to Laura Walker, and I've seen that for myself as well. Things will come in and like because of the way my brain seems to organize puzzle pieces, sometimes I feel like crystals pre-waving something. It's almost like I can sense now, when there's a pre-waving going on. And Lisa does it a lot, but the two of you also sync up at times. And what I mean by pre-waving is energy that I don't get. I don't get that energy at the same time sometimes. And like sometimes it'll be Lisa first, then Crystal, then me. And sometimes it's like months apart. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This is exactly what she described, right? So I know that it's like Lisa, you described, I think it was around the 1st of November, lying in bed and seeing files or something.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I was wide awake and I couldn't sleep and I needed to sleep. So, I had an early morning. So I decided I would meditate since I couldn't sleep. And that usually works. I start to meditate and before you know it, I'm sleeping. But I didn't fall asleep. I stayed conscious through the whole thing. But what I saw was, well, I use the metaphor of zip files coming in, but it was like conversations with myself is what they felt like because as as these energetics came in and opened up, I was having questions about what I was seeing, and it was deep stuff, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to, and it was just like just when I understood what this one was about, it would disappear and a new one came in and opened up. And I was having trouble understanding like I was in the first one. I knew what it was about, and I wanted to go into that deeper. And then And then I just felt this calm wash over me because I was kind of grabbing for things and and it was just like my body said, just relax and observe is what came to me. And I was like, okay, like don't get swept up in the minutia of it. And this just happened for several hours from 4 to 6:30. And it just kept coming in. And by the end of it, it just stopped. It just came to its conclusion. And for me, what came to me as I was showering and getting ready for the day was that there was a collapsing of the timelines. So all the lateral me's that were out there making slightly different decisions and having slightly different experiences were all shutting down. And it was like all the juju from all the good lessons learned from all of those experiences that were different from the one I'm having in my current reality. It felt like it was downloaded into my physical body's Akash, if that makes any sense. So like it went into my subconscious or superconscious, or I'm not sure how to label that properly, but so my conscious mind observed what was happening but couldn't take it in. It was it was volumes. It was entirely too much stuff. But as I was showering, I got the sense that it's swimming around in my field now, and that as I need it, it will reveal itself. So, like I said, on my way home, that chant came in, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise. And when I need wisdom, I look deep inside. And so it's about carrying that knowing with me consciously throughout my day more, so that when I'm looking for wisdom, I remember that it's all here now. I have it, I carry it. And I have to say, I was out of town when this happened, and it felt like it was for me, from me, to me, yes, but it was just my own experience. But since then, I have come to see it as that happened for all of us. And maybe not everybody was able to consciously catch it happening. And for some reason I was, and maybe I needed to be like awake. And I'm not sure why or any of that, but I do feel as though humanity has received the download or the light, the known light, like the stuff that we know is becoming accessible in a way that hasn't before been available. So I guess that's how I describe what I experienced.
Well, I love that. And it felt very similar to me to what you described, Crystal, that you kind of experienced. Did you feel a similarity there for you with what Lisa was sharing?
Yeah, I felt the collapsing of timelines before it, like rapidly during like a set amount of days. And it was
Okay.
like I knew exactly what was happening after I called on, after the first couple of times of it. But it was like during a span of days to where this was actually happening. And I remember talking about it to you saying it feels like timelines are collapsing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Well,
Yep.
and you both are aware, and since we have newer folks that are tuning into the channel, I will just say,
Mm-hmm.
now this happened for me from some time ago, and that's why I say, if you didn't feel anything, don't think you're missing out or
Right.
you're not included, because here's the thing. I experienced what they're speaking on in a really wild sort of way, sitting on the toilet, and this was what, a couple months ago? Or it might even have been a year ago. we had I actually experienced the earthquake that happened in Washington D.C. Live in North Carolina, but so I know what a small tremor of a 5.0 in Washington D.C. would feel like in this house. And
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting on the toilet, and all at once it felt like the toilet, the house, and everything was I thought it was an earthquake. And I asked myself internally, is this an earthquake? And I got time quake because right after that, it felt like I was being back and forth like this, just exactly what you were saying. It was during that my because the toilet was moving, my whole body. And I remember sharing it with Lisa. So I kind of feel like it's such a personalized journey. We cannot compare ourselves to each other. However, we can collect puzzle pieces and see, sense, and feel the similarities, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful to know that some of us pre wave, because what I now know too is that because Lisa went through what she went through with that whole fungal thing, which was years before you met me, right?
Yes.
Years before, and you were practicing being your own internal chiropractor right here in this house and
Mm-hmm.
really not sharing a whole lot about it at first.
Mm-mm.
And but I now see very much that we carry solution in our fields even while we are working on a thing.
Yes.
Just the very bringing it from behind the veil and walking around working on an internal sitch. I've seen proof in myself because, like I said, there's just I'm really good at remembering stuff. This is why I call myself a puzzle piece collector. I think that's part of my quest is that I'm supposed to see. If I don't, I because I'm not quite sure I would be as far along as I am, to be honest with you. But because of that, I can see how we are all translators for each other too, because the two of you have also helped me understand concepts that I was and have struggled with sometimes. So doing this kind of awakening to the truth of who I am quest work in
Yeah.
company as I look at my dark shadows and the truth of who I am, all of it, even the stuff that, I didn't care so much for when I was 490 pounds, you know, in company has been the best ever. I'm ever so grateful to you guys for sharing your journey with me and by extension everybody that comes to our little get-togethers, whether they're live or recorded, because there will come a time when we are doing more recording that is not live, the three of us, sometimes the four of us, and eventually more, because there's my original plan was anybody who ever wanted to come and chat and share, uh, come chat, share. A lot of people get freaked out about being on camera, knowing it's going to be on the YouTubes, and oh my God, people are going to see me, and oh my God, people are going to actually know who I am. And I got nothing for that. I can't help that. If you're not ready, you're not ready. But that's, for me, it's
Mm-hmm.
all about that. And I adore both of you so much for doing that. Crystal, I feel like, when you were sharing earlier about your card, what do you foresee that card? What is it, if you don't mind sharing, what is it specifically you feel like it might be saying?
You talking about this, the Knight of Pentacles?
Yeah.
I don't know. to me, I keep being brought back to what you said about like the mirage, like the path kind of changing. And well, when I went to go walk the dog, I was like, maybe the path doesn't change. It's just the fact that once you think you have it figured out, and I say you, I'm talking about myself, but this might apply to other people, tend to think in a certain way of what that path per se is going to look like. So there are expectations placed upon what that path is going to look like. And you start venturing out on that path thinking you got it all figured out. And there those expectations lie. But all of a sudden, you know nothing. Nothing is figured out. And it's not because, oh, you're not on the right path or you're doing things wrong or, anything like that. It's just about letting go of those expectations and being in the flow of what could potentially take place on that path. When you put up those expectations, you kind of block off potential things, it's limiting yourself. And yeah, that's kind of the message for me. That it's not exactly the labyrinth or the maze in which I think it is. It's the mirage that I'm placing with expectations.
Ooh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
it's so synchronistic too.
But hold on, something else just came through. That's okay because that's the way that I've wanted to experience things. Like some might call that chaotic, or at times I have described it as chaotic. Like, and you kind of get used to that, so you want to shake things up, and that's kind of what you want to experience. But no, that's kind of the way that I wanted to experience things. That's how my soul has chose to evolve and to learn and to grow. Like I had to see that and experience that.
Mm-hmm.
All in good timing. All in good timing. So
Right.
I'm not
Right.
even
It
gonna
all
like sit
started.
here and like default myself. Oh my gosh, how could you do that to you? Da, da, da. No, it's okay.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Of course, I got a whole. I'm twice your age, and so for me, the benefit of that is that I now see that all of those things that I held as tragic events,
Right.
filled with abuse and all kinds of other things, were actually things that I know with all of me, I set up and I experienced on my choice. And honestly, that is such a much more empowering point of view and releases me from any of all of that. I wanted to share with you that just this, well, actually, right before uh, Lisa and I had tried to go to a function, and then we came back and I told you we could do this live. So, right before this live, I recorded these words from the Jeshua channeling. The time of transformation has arrived. Right now, when the time is difficult, I ask you to continue with heads held high and to focus on the horizon of the new era. A reality of harmony and love is waiting for you. It is your inheritance, and many of you will taste it in this lifetime. The key is to have faith in yourself and to trust that you will be given all that you need. Do not fear the dark, for the light inside you is stronger. Your light will never be defeated. The reality of light is waiting in love and patience until you extend your hand and open the gate. There was a place up here earlier where it talked about being kind to yourself and realizing that all of it is what did it say? I that was not it, and but that did feel like that was the one. It's just that I just recorded that this morning, and it just feels to me like it's so synchronistic that these puzzle pieces are showing themselves, and it was only once I started showing up for myself again. That's to the point that we were speaking on earlier. So, I want to thank you guys and everybody else too, for coming and partaking, you know, of the conversation. And you can catch all of us. That I don't know. Kind of feel a waning of the energy. Do you guys are you complete? I really want to make sure that everybody has had a chance to share what they feel led to share today, because this has been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been beautiful. Thanks for including me.
Oh, thank you for stopping what you were doing to join us, because
Oh yeah, that old mess in my bedroom, it's waiting for me.
I know, but I also kind of could feel that it now was the perfect time if you were willing to roll with it, and I'm just so grateful that it
No,
worked
it
out that you
was
could.
because I was listening to you guys and I
That's
was
right.
thinking, I was like letting this conversation, be what I was focused on as I was sorting and sifting and purging. So when you asked me to join, I thought, oh my goodness, she knows I'm listening.
Oh,
Okay.
no, actually,
I
okay,
felt
so
like
here's another proof.
you knew
On
I was
some
in
level,
there.
I did know, but right here, I did not.
No, I know. So then I was
Oh,
like,
how
okay, where
cool.
can I sit? How can I make this happen? And then you wrote in our thing.
Well, I'm
Um,
so grateful that you
so
did.
yeah, me too. This was the perfect break.
So I'm hoping that we will be able to do many more conversations with the three
Yes,
of us, with
please.
other folks who feel drawn and interested. I
Hmm.
After this, what is coming? Let me just say what's coming, okay?
Okay.
Right away, I'm going to figure out how to offer these as a raffle so that I can, help assist gather some gift energy, and a little exchange as well, to help me get it out of here and also into the hands of somebody who might want to, explore for yourself. And also, once we get out of here, because I'm not going to promise I could probably start it after if I can get all of this taken care of in my room. I want to start. I want us to start using me. I'm saying us, but I mean me. Uh,
Okay.
our website more.
Hmm.
www.knewlightstreaminglove. I'm sorry. I always love, and I always say, who knew you could get a .love instead of .com? I love that so much. I can't even stand it.
I know, me too.
Yeah. And so I want to go there, and under me, because all three of us are featured there. And underneath of me, I'm going to start writing a little something. And I'm also going to publish a list of topics that I would like to have conscious conversations surrounding. And so that's coming down the pike. And I had this urge to share with Crystal before we started recording my idea, because it's really come in strong, to start the Celestine Prophecies book group. So it'd be a secondary book group, because I really, really, really feel um, nudged in this moment. I mean, I even pulled out the books, and uh, was saying to Crystal that after the Jeshua channelings, I wanted to re-record the Soul Journey. But she said that when I mentioned the title of the Celestine prophecies, the frequency felt different. You want to talk about that, Crystal?
I just had a different feel when you said that one. I was like, ooh, yeah, I need to pay attention to that.
And I kind of feel that the time for me anyway is to do it again. I mean, I've never done some of these books actually. You know,
Oh.
I saw the movie and I read the Celeste prophecies, but I never
Mm-hmm.
got to the 10th insight. I never actually
Oh, okay.
read that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I highly recommend all of them and the workbooks.
Well, I did, just so you know, I did get two of the Celestine Prophecy and Experiential Guide, hold the 10th Insight Holding the Vision. These are two guides, I guess, experiential guides. I don't know
Mhm.
how to use them or anything, but I really, really, really want to put this out publicly. If you feel drawn, like Crystal did, to belonging to a book group that will meet once a week for 2 hours, um, we can decide on the day and time as a group, but everybody has to agree to meet in Zoom at some point so we can do that. And then we'll read the book together. Lisa and Crystal and I have done this before, and Lisa and I have another book club that we're doing with a group. But I want to do this as a secondary because I love books. I love the idea of doing more of these too. This was all Lisa's idea, the book club aspect, and um, I just love that idea. And this feels like, so I'm not exactly sure when this will start, to be honest, because I want us to be able to have things. So I guess I'll know exactly when, but start looking at the website, y'all, for more information from all of us. And under Chris, Journey into It, Chris is the one that's got a whole lot to look through up there and things that and ways that you can support her. I would love for anybody that and plus you have a blog there too, don't you?
I don't know if it's live on there. There's a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
pages that are private right now,
Mm,
just because, wasn't doing too much.
I gotcha. Well, go to new.
I need to go reconfigure some stuff up in there.
Well, me too. That's why
Yeah,
I'm
me
saying, but I
too.
do want folks to go and look around. Go look around, get to know us, see if you feel drawn and whatnot. And if not, don't. I mean, because
Yeah, and I'm doing this all myself. Crystal did a beautiful job at she created this space for us, and I'm not very computer literate, so I have already kind of, in my opinion, messed some things up that were in better shape before I started. So, yeah, I've been slow to put things together as it just takes me quite a while to figure it all out. But I did
yeah,
get a couple of things up there now, and at least how to get in touch with me, and what I have to offer is there, and so I too need to work on that.
Look, I told Quinley yesterday, she was showing me a piece of her art, and she was like, I messed up on this, I messed up on that. The
Yeah.
website to me is kind of like art. You can't mess it up.
Okay. Okay.
thank
Thank you.
you.
I told her, you can't mess art up.
Thank you,
Okay.
because I feel like that. I feel like that too.
Just
I
can't mess it up.
It,
appreciate those words, Crystal. Thank you.
no, I listen, we are exactly where we are at any given time because that's where we need to be, is what I feel. Because
Yeah.
listen, I was beating myself up for a while too because I think StreamYard could be extremely helpful for us. But to be honest, again, I'm like you, I'm not real. Look, I'm doing good to record this and get it up on the YouTubes. Okay, I'm a 63-year-old woman that only got a cell phone, much less
I
a
know, but you trained
smartphone.
yourself real good. So you're doing a fabulous job. I'm very proud of you.
I was going to say, I didn't even get a cell
So
phone of
thank you
any
for that.
sort until I think it was 2011, 2012. So, I knew how to my way around a laptop, not really even a laptop, more desktop or
Sure.
not even that really, key to tape and IBM 29 card punch. I mean, I'm old.
You've had lots of experience with computers, dear.
Well, I mean, I know that I'm not going to, well, I say I'm not going to break it.
All
I know
different
enough to,
generations of computers.
well, I know enough to hit escape if I get into something and I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. I'm
Well,
not
see,
going to
that's
go but
awesome.
so far. So that's true. But, I know very little. So
No,
we're
it's
doing good.
tricky.
Say what?
It's tricky.
Yes.
Look,
I was going to
on the
say I'm
website,
doing
as long as you know where the not the back button like you're going on the internet, but the undo button, as long as you know where that's at, you'll be all right.
Oh,
All
there you
right.
go.
There's an undo button right there.
Okay. Well, I
Okay,
got to
Word
do
has
that.
that too, so that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I listen, like I said, we're doing real good. I'm doing real good to have it up on YouTube. So we are exactly where we need to be. And
Mhm.
because, uh, if we are needed somewhere else, I think we will eventually end up there. So,
Yeah.
okay, well, I guess that's it for us. I love you guys. Thanks so
Love
much
you
for
too.
hanging out. Till
Yeah.
next
Thanks
time,
for all the
I hope
fun
you all will
feedback.
move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. Ah,
Bye. Love you.
love you.